Imperfect Gentleman Show.
So George works on a production set, and I just want to let you all know that he called off. Yeah,
Today?
I said it. You know why? I'll tell you why. It's because I think that's the most genius move ever. And I'll tell you why. Because legally, they are entitled to give you sick days. You know that?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, in California, they have to give you
Can we
sick
talk
days.
about something else with so much going on
I just
in
like
the
that you're
world?
on a production. You're
Okay.
just like, hey, I've been working my ass off, and I deserve my day.
Can we talk about the triple doubles I've been pulling, bro?
Yo, no, we can't. You thought that would get you in trouble? That's gonna get you in trouble, bro. You know what I'm saying? And in case you don't know, I'm the impeccable, impenetrable Tehran Von Gossary alongside.
GK Supreme, rest in peace, Harambe, Cecil the Lion, and all my fallen sisters and brothers. We are one.
What the fuck? And we are
Imperfect Gentlemen.
That's right. And of course, we have wonderful, intelligent, beautiful guests in the building to add the female perspective to whatever topic we decide to talk about today. And
Hello, everyone. I'm Nelya.
And I am Bianca Sia, the other black Persian.
I feel
No, just stop. You know what? You know what I'm sick of?
I invented being black and Persian. I'm
sick.
sorry.
You know what? Like, you know what? Where
are
were
you
you a
sick of?
decade ago when Tehran was a unicorn longing to
I was
find...
in Northern California holding it down for the Persians there. Okay?
Were you black
AKA
and-
the better Persians.
Were you black and Persian back then, or did you just become black and Persian when you found out Tehran existed?
Actually, I'm even better than Tehran because I'm Colombian, Panamanian, and Persian.
Oh, damn.
That's popping. That's popping.
popping.
But guess
That's
what?
popping.
Still not
Okay.
not black and Persian. Like, here's the thing about being black and
Still
Persian.
not?
Like,
What?
here's the thing.
I'm Afro-Latin and
Here's the
Persian.
thing. Exactly.
Get it?
Afro-Latin
Black
and
enough.
Persian.
Right.
Which only look, I'm telling you right now, and I'm going on record, and I'm letting everyone know I invented being black and Persian. I don't care what anyone says. I invented
Have you
being
been to
black
Iran?
and Persian.
Have
Yes,
you
I
been to-
have, of course.
Okay, great. Well, congrats. See you there.
I still invented being
See
black and
you.
You
Persian.
in Jordan,
Like,
motherfucker.
nobody thought being black and Persian was special until I told everyone it was special.
He vocalized it.
I vocalized
and then
it.
there was an uprising.
Hold on, did you know who I was before you met me?
Only because I saw the Shahs of Sunset.
Okay,
That
but
was
did
it.
the
But
Persians?
not through my whole life.
But
no.
Persians, no, they're like, oh, Tehran. Have you ever? Has anyone
Because
have
of
you ever
Shahs.
said? Have you? It's not just Shahs. Have you ever told someone you're black and Persian and they're like, oh my god, do you know Tehran?
No, not until Shahs.
I challenge you to go to a Persian music festival and just try and walk near him without him being stopped a million times for a photograph.
You guys, we're going down a weird hole here.
We're not going down a road.
I'm not taking anything away from
yes,
you.
you
we're
are.
taking-
In a way, you are.
First of all,
because-
George, I don't like your tone.
I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why. Because the
I didn't
reason
like your
I'm
silence
establishing this-
when I mentioned Harambe and Cecil the Lion. Too many people are quiet about their deaths.
Oh my gosh. I'm telling you why, Bianca. I'm mentioning
I
these
feel
things.
really left out right now.
Because I have to have a child with Bianca. And,
Wait.
and I'm
We've
explaining.
escalated.
So is this why you invited her here?
Survival.
This is why I have to, and I'll tell you why. Because I want to have a black and Persian child. Now, here's the problem.
But he would be.
Sure, but it's still
So
be
much
black
more.
and Persian. Like,
Okay.
as long as my child is not more Persian or more black, and I'll explain. Let's say I had a child with a black person. Now my child will be 75% black and a quarter Persian, still not half black and Persian. Now let's say I had a child with a Persian girl. Now my child will be 75% Persian, which I will never let happen, and 25%.
You should
Black.
teach fractions.
So
You're really
now
good at this.
what I need to
Like,
procreate,
damn.
and there's only like 12 of us in the world. And Yara Shahidi's way too young, and
You know, Yada, don't.
I love Yara. Yara's my girl. I'm just saying she's way too young for it to be acceptable, especially in today's day and age of
How old
everything
is
going
Yara?
on. Yara's like 17 right now, 18. I don't know. She's gonna be the president of the United States. She's way too good for me.
You know
and,
what?
and to be honest, Bianca's way too good for me too.
If I ever doubted
what are
that
we talking
Toronto,
about?
if I ever doubted that Toronto was Middle Eastern, like this conversation, I must have children.
I must
with
have
you.
child.
I have to. Thanks.
And in case you want to have a half or a quarter, depends on the whole math, fraction king, white or whatever you are, let's introduce our other guest today.
I mean, she
Hi
introduced
guys.
herself,
She
but it
already
was very anticlimactic. She
Yeah,
was
let's
I don't know,
reintroduce.
What's your name?
Well, I would totally ruin all your fractions because I'm Ukrainian, so I would just add something
What's your
completely
name?
different.
What's your name?
Nelya.
Nelya. Very It was anticlimactic, and I wanted Nelya to come out strong. I wanted
wanted her-
I'm
That's
sorry, I'm
what-
not Persian or black. There was
Wait,
like
no,
a lot
but-
of like marriage going
Wait, no,
on here.
Nelya, you should do your introduction, but do it in Russian.
Yeah. Now
I'll
we're
definitely
talking.
do it in
Bianca,
Ukrainian.
now
I will do
Ukrainian.
Ukrainian, we're all like, yeah, right.
Okay, go.
Okay, let's go. You like it's different. I love when it's like go.
It
on.
is different.
Sure,
How do you
Guatemala
know?
and Mexico is
Okay.
not the same thing.
Okay,
Go.
okay. Oh my God, he did not just say that. Okay, добрий день, мої любі друзі. Мене звати Неля Linnik. Як
Yo,
справи?
she just like made a pledge to Trump. I swear she just pledged.
Oh,
Trump.
absolutely.
She
Yeah,
did.
it's a
That's
secret
the thing.
society.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
It's going.
Wait, I have a question. What
Yes.
is
He
George?
pays me
I can't
for
tell if
this.
he's Mexican or Middle Eastern.
I've been
I
getting
say
Mexican a
Mexican.
lot lately.
Well, you're in North Mexico.
it.
This is
Yeah.
Southern California, which is basically just North
So
Mexico.
you say Mexican, your guess?
Guatemalan.
And those are like
I'm
coincidentally
gonna
the two
guess Puerto
countries you
Rican.
named.
I'm guessing Puerto Rican.
Puerto Rican.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, you
I think
know.
you're Puerto Rican or Dominican.
Okay.
I think actually Puerto Dominican. What is your ethnic background?
Lebanese.
Lebanon.
Lebanese?
Oh,
Okay.
I'm a Lexicon.
Oh,
I don't get that.
wait,
'Cause
Teron,
he's-
you didn't know what
You're
he was?
Mexican?
Yeah, I
and
know.
Lebanese?
I've known him for
No.
like
Okay.
for over 15 years.
Oh, okay.
But if I
You
had
do
to
look-
guess, you didn't say what I know. If I had to guess, because
oh.
of the lineup, I'm going with Puerto Rican
Going with Puerto Rican.
or Dominican. The lineup is
Lebanese.
Chris. Like, have you seen Dominican and Puerto Rican's lineups? They're amazing.
Yeah, it's George. Let's see your lineup. Take off all that clothing.
Well, like my hat, my hair is.
Yeah, your
I have
hat and
hat.
your hood.
I have
Too much.
hat hair right now, so I can't do that on the
Oh,
show.
excuses.
Yeah, hat
hair. Yeah, you can't.
It's,
You have what?
it's the radio,
Hat
bro.
hair.
But we are of course
We're on a
courtesy of
live
Martin.
stream.
Yeah. So you grew up in the Bay.
Bay.
And that's why you're kind of down to earth, because I've noticed you're
Exactly.
actually
I'm cool.
very cool. Listen, Bianca's one of the coolest girls I know, period. And that's a true story. You know that I think this of you.
I know.
What's
I
your
know.
babies? Of
Yeah.
course.
Well, no, it's not. I want. That's the problem. It's mandatory. Like, here's the thing.
So,
Oh, wow.
so Persian.
It's not.
Bianca, you know what?
What
So
are my
hot.
options? I can date her or me. Like, what
Right.
can I do?
You know what,
Well, right now
Bianca?
you're just dating you. I get it.
Yeah,
So it probably
that's
isn't
what I'm
that
saying.
fun, huh?
You know, this show is about acceptance. It's about transparency. It's about unity. It's about saving the animals.
Absolutely.
And right now,
Which
you
It's
know,
animals?
not about saving
Which animals?
yeah,
What am I not-
Harambe and Cecil's
You know what?
ancestors.
Go eat some
and-
kibanaya.
or predecessors.
Go home and eat some kibanaya and
What is
some
that?
kofta.
I'm sorry,
that?
I'm
Why are you saying
vegetarian,
weird
so I'm
things?
not going to eat that.
This
Is that
Lebanese food.
Lebanese food?
I don't
What's
kill
kofta?
animals like
Sounds
you.
very interesting.
But
You know
kinda
what?
scary.
You think you're better than us because you're a vegetarian?
do.
Only because animals
Oh, God,
scream
yeah.
and plants don't. You do know you're killing plants. Like if
It's
you
a living
ripped,
organism,
If you
yeah.
ripped like kale out the ground, it was like, oh no!
I don't eat rooted plants.
Oh, yes.
Oh my
The
God.
plant will bear something for me.
So you eat
Eats
apples?
It will
bread and cheese.
Eventually, like
Like,
fall
I'm a
off and I'll pick
vegetarian.
it.
You eat apples? Like that's
I
you're
should
Only
eat
the ones
more
that have
apples.
fallen off of the tree. How do you know?
Because
you go
they're
pick them
broken.
yourself?
Because
Oh,
they're
they're
broken.
broken.
They're broken like Bianca is. Because she's broken and she's
Such a
not
beautiful
being,
way though, right?
You're not.
Why am I
and
broken?
You're broken
You better
because
come correct
Tehran
now.
can
You better-
fix you. You're only broken because
What are you,
Tehran
his
can fix you.
freaking Dick's lawyer?
This is no. He didn't even mean why. Whoa. With the
Oh, sorry.
we don't even
Sex?
speak.
Oh, we don't say
No,
dick.
no, we
We say- you
no,
don't say
we
dick
say
on the
dick,
show?
but
Is
not
this a
after
dickless
person?
show?
no, not after the
Dickless
Matt
show?
Lauer thing. Like we don't talk any sexual around. Like
This isn't-
when I said babe, I
Okay.
meant sperm inception at a bank. I didn't
You're
mean
requiring
anything
me
sexual.
to have your baby, but
Yeah.
you're not Matt Lauer. You are the black
But you're
version of
Matt
Matt Lauer.
Whoa.
Is there a lock on this door?
We're saying-
Tehran, get your hand
I
off
hit
my
the button, it's
breast.
like click, click. Whoa. I just want everyone to know that my hands are right here, and I've never, ever
What are
touched.
his legs
I didn't
doing?
even notice Bianca
I
had
can see the
breasts.
legs, guys.
So
I can see the legs.
anyways, fallen apple. Just let Tehran pick you up and take you on a date. Like that's all.
There's no such thing as a vegetarian Middle Eastern
I would
person, so-
actually.
So
you know
yeah, you're
what?
lying.
Well,
I-
you know
I
what?
agree with-
They kind of
with
have an
Bianca.
argument there. Like, yeah.
How difficult is dating for either one of you? Now with Bianca, to explain, is also the known server at the Comedy Store. Like beyond everything else she does.
Yeah, she's the most flirtatious and bubbly.
But I don't feel like she's flirtatious. She's just like
Yeah.
bubbly. And that's what I'm saying. Like
I think she's
You.
both.
that line between personality and wanting is something that throws a lot of guys off. As a guy,
Oh
how
my
do we
God,
determine
preach.
What? I'm confused.
when a guy
No,
listen,
like-
a girl, if a guy's charismatic, if a guy's flirty, he's just charismatic. He's just a very charismatic, charming guy.
Charming, okay.
But if a girl has personality and charisma, then she's a flirty whore who's just trying to fuck
No,
everybody.
I disagree because
Not necessarily.
this term
But I think
F-boy,
it does kind of go that way, but not. I don't.
It
think
does though.
100%.
Most
Most
guys.
of the time it does.
listen, if I'm just charming, no girl thinks that I'm actually specifically hitting on them. But if I,
Oh,
if
you'd
a
be
girl-
surprised. There are girls
if
who
a
do
girl's
think
flirty-
that. Absolutely.
Have you ever felt
Absolutely.
like I
There are
hit on-
girls who think that.
What you have ever felt like? What?
Like
It
I've
dep-
hit on you.
It depends on the person.
he just asked to procreate with you, and you don't think he's ever hit on you?
Yeah,
Are
but it
you-
was-
I know, like we
I feel like the
witnessed all of that.
procreation was very.
that was very like by the
specific.
books. That
If
was
I
Very
said
political?
that,
Is
I
that
would
what you're
be
saying?
jailed.
Yeah,
Very,
but then-
the
verbal
procreation
assault.
was very diplomatic. Okay, it wasn't
diplomatic-
flirtatious.
But that's
Got
what
it.
I'm saying. Like you see me out often.
So you're saying you don't want to have a sexual encounter with her. You just want the sperm bank
saying is-
situation.
No, what I'm saying specifically is that in general, when I come off, when I'm like, because as a comedian, I'm coming off like funny and witty or whatever it
Yeah,
has to
yeah.
be that gets me on stage. I don't think a lot of girls are taking it that way because I also control it. Now I'm not saying there are not a lot of comedian fuckboys. Oh, trust me. If I started naming names, a lot of people would go down. However, what I'm saying is,
But that term goes into every industry.
when a girl has personality, and we see this with female comedians all the time, everyone just automatically decides they must be whores. That is the
That's
concept.
so
that
for
I
me,
kind of agreed.
Like honestly, if I actually had sex with the amount of people who've claimed like they see me talking to comedians, like I wouldn't even have time to eat. I'd just be in bukkake
Eating cock all
circles,
day.
constant bukkake,
Breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
I'm just like, there's no way I can have sex with all these people. It's physically impossible.
Because she's just bubbly and she's
you.
talkative and she's friendly, and
Thank
everyone
you.
misinterprets that as, oh, Bianca must be sleeping with these
No,
guys.
you know
For
what? I got it.
what?
I don't know
I
that
gotta
everyone, but a
disagree.
lot of people.
It used to be the case, but lately, if a man is charming, he automatically gets called a player, or this new term F-boy, which has taken over the world. There have been many
you've been
ti-
called that before. I
Yeah,
can tell, Joy.
Yeah, and there's many times where I just
personal.
want to have a conversation with a lady, but they're so used to the thought of thinking they're being hit on, they won't even entertain conversation.
That's
Okay,
actually
what-
a good
but-
point.
Yeah,
But
they'll be like,
what's
I have
your
a boyfriend.
style,
I'll be like,
though?
I have a life, okay, and I'm just trying
Not
to
even
talk
that.
to
You
I
could go up to a
exist.
girl and be like, excuse me, what time is it? I have a boyfriend. like, I'm late.
Well, that
bitch.
comes back
Like,
to
I just
personality.
needed
That comes
the
back to
fucking time.
personality and people's like insecurities and self-esteem issues.
That needs to go on
that's-
stage. Show
It's
that
just,
one.
it's yeah.
But okay,
I
here's
mean,
the
growing
thing.
up, I've always had a lot of guy friends, and I kind of was viewed that way too. Like she's the slutty one just because like she's always hanging out with guys.
What was
So I
that
kinda get
like
it.
during the high school days, middle school?
High school.
High school.
So back when I was very innocent. I'm
It's
still innocent.
difficult. Well, it is more difficult, I feel, for late. See, where Tehran's theory really applies is in high school, like in school, and for all you young
What's
kids
the
listening.
theory? I'm not sure what.
So
what it is
so
you're
what
talking
happens
about.
in high school is because everything, because sex is somewhat new. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
there are
Sex
people
and sexuality.
in
And
sexuality.
whole, because it's not
Yes.
always just sex.
And there are people who, got into it in middle school, but it happens mostly in high school, and it's new to people. So when they find out, oh, she went on a date with him, or she hooked up with him, that's where I've noticed in high school, because of immaturity, the lady gets pinned as the H word, and the man
H word.
is like the cool kid. in
George
school.
doesn't curse.
And the
It's
man's
part of his vegan diet.
Yeah, I don't call people dick lawyers or allude to cockfests like some people I know.
Dick lawyers. Oh, I
Yeah,
did say
you
that.
did call me a
Dick
dick
lawyers.
lawyer, which is
Like,
the
what the
weirdest thing I've ever heard. So
Stop being
so that
lying.
happens in like the younger age, in the
That's
youth.
the weirdest thing
In
you've
the
ever
youth.
heard. You dick. Hold on.
Dick lawyer
Dick
is
lawyer is
not.
weird. It's weird.
It's
Okay, I
called
agree with you.
creative.
I live in WeHo, and
But
I
it
think there
stays
are
up.
actual dick lawyers. Like I feel like that's actually. I think there's a dick lawyer office down my block where it's the
You have to take
office
a
of
screenshot
dick
and post it next
I
time.
think that's really a thing. So
Yeah, but
I agree with I agree and understand what you're saying, but I don't think that immaturity only resides in high school. I think that in life,
Totally.
There are
guys are
people
just
who
high
don't-
school boys that kind of get tired. They don't get more mature. They get tired and they're like, oh, I don't feel like chasing girls. Now I'll settle down. But a lot of guys are turned on by the chase. Like
It's-
guys
I
really
think
just
some
don't
guys
grow
mature.
up.
God, let me believe in that a
They
little bit,
do not.
please.
They do not.
Please.
Give us hope, Tehran. Give us hope.
The
Give us
hope
hope,
is
George.
the hope is this is that you find someone who's intellectually
Sound.
able to stimulate you because that lasts longer. But other than that, guys,
Oh, I
will-
agree with you on that. 100%.
Just remember this: whenever you think of guys, okay, Stephen Hawking's, who's like in a wheelchair. Stephen Hawking cheated on his wife with the nurse, bro.
Wait,
I didn't know this.
That was
Once it
real.
Wait, what?
She like stayed with him. The wife stayed with him after like he got
No.
it when he was
What?
22. This is true.
Wait.
He
So
was supposed
theory
to
of
die.
everything was true, bro.
That is
Pre
based
or
on his real
post
life.
ALS?
This is post ALS. This is when he's like,
and he
did
created a program to speak to her.
yo, and
right?
he talked to the girl and he macked his nurse and like he would do little things. I mean, that's what I'm saying.
You are quite lovely.
You know, like
Look at those eyes.
50-year-old guys still laugh at fart jokes. Like it never.
I mean, yeah,
So
You
guys
just
are
have to
animals?
find someone who happens to be intellectually
above it.
above the fray. And that person, what people confuse as maturity is actually intellectual ability. But other than that, it's really, that's why
I
we
feel
have
like that
these
kind of
cases of sexual harassment.
So Tehran mentioned
I feel
that.
like it translates into maturity, but I get your point.
Yeah, and I want to hear from you too. Okay, if it does translate into maturity. He also mentioned the chase. Is the chase a part of maturing? And is the chase always a man's job? Because recently, and this is our popping or stopping for the day, I was on popping or stopping. You can tell me it was popping or stopping. I was on Facebook and I tagged Tehran in this meme. And it was actually a lady on one knee.
Okay.
Oh.
It's a lot of pauses.
On one knee.
I was like, wait, what?
I'm
Like,
building it up,
Okay.
proposing to her boyfriend.
Not how
Okay.
I would prefer
Okay.
that
Now-
one knee
now-
thing to end.
now-
but
Now
You're like,
that's now that's the chase.
Thought it was
Okay, that's her.
good.
That's her doing the chase. Do you think it's a man's job to always chase? Do you think it should be a lady's job too?
I don't think it's always the man's job. Like
Hey,
the
you're
last guy I
Ukrainian.
dated.
Your opinion on this really? Ukrainian
Oh,
women
shut
are
up. Let
very
me
strong.
finish.
speak.
Let me
You come here,
finish.
you fuck now. Like,
You do what I say.
You do
No,
it.
well, the last guy I dated, I hit on him like at the bar and basically kind of picked him up, and it kind of
Yes,
worked for a
bitch.
while until
Da.
it didn't.
But
it didn't work because like the chase was like uneven or something. Like there's give and take in the relationship, but I made the first move, so I think it's okay to make the first move. I don't agree that the girl should propose marriage.
no.
I still disagree with that. I think the tradition should stay the same. Like the guy should propose.
But here's why: is because
There should be discussion though that you want to spend your life together, so no one's like caught off guard.
well, here's the thing: I love hitting on guys. Like hitting on guys is the best thing ever.
And it's kind of fun because
it's fun because they don't get it.
They don't expect it.
They're
So
very
like, what?
confused and they're just like, what the fuck is happening? So it's fine. But like the milestones of a relationship, unfortunately, you kind of do have to like
Stick with.
wait for the guy.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of like the guy. Like if someone proposed to me, I'd kick them in the nuts. Like hell fucking like
why?
ball.
Because you're against.
Maybe
No,
did
just
you say no or what?
No, just like I don't know. I'm commitment phobic, so I'm just like, oh my god, ball and chain.
Well, then it has to be done the right way, and it has to be the right
No,
timing.
what she's saying is she's not looking for that, so she would.
So she would definitely have your.
I would get married if the
your
guy
semen.
wanted to get married.
All right, now I'm confused.
Yeah, you did confuse.
No, if the guy was like, really want to get married, I'd be like,
So you're saying you
just
want a
said-
discussion beforehand?
Oh,
That's what I'm
you would
saying,
kick
that it
him
has
in
to be a
the-
discussion
I
and
get it.
timing.
Yeah, discussion beforehand. You would kick him in the balls if you did it out of nowhere.
like the pop
Yeah, kick me out
proposal.
of the blue.
yeah.
I'd be like, hell no. But like, if he wanted to,
What if it was
I
the
would.
natural progression of the relationship? What if you
Yeah.
felt? See, here's the concept of monogamy. By the way, there is a biological reason why monogamy exists in humanity. The biological reason that they are theorizing is the fact that monogamous relationships produce more offspring.
You're so smart.
So the concept is
true.
the concept of life is we exist. All this stuff is nice, but we really exist to procreate in order to.
I don't even
The
believe
furtherance
that
of
theory.
humanity.
You know,
Makes sense,
you
though.
know
No,
how many
that's
baby
100%
mamas,
true.
baby daddies are like out there right now.
Sure,
I feel like
not-
more kids are
not
coming.
Not a lot. Actually, that's
that's still
the myth.
procreation.
The
That's still
myth
procreation.
is that
It
there's
doesn't have to
so
be a
many
family.
overwhelming fatherless families. That's not the case.
Isn't
And
it a 50-50 split?
No,
Statistically,
no,
bro?
it's not actually.
Bro?
That's the funny part is that it's not. It's a minority family, but because it's a loud minority, it looks this. It's just like the same way that we focus on problematic situations in society that aren't terrorism. Oh no. Well, you're way more likely to die in an automobile crash by 1 million times than a terrorist attack, but we focus on terrorist attack because it's just more spectacular. That's what I'm saying. So
Well, we focus on
what I-
dysfunction. Yeah.
we focus on dysfunction. Exactly.
What I'm saying is I'm more prepared right now to be a father than I am to be a husband.
And that's actually I feel
that's
like a very
fine.
millennial
Naturally,
point.
that's okay.
Yeah.
But there's a lot less millennials than there are people before us.
Yeah.
So that adds up as well. But I think that that's the trend, is that we're going to go to the same way we're going to a paperless society. It's going to be like almost like a marriageless society.
But the thing is, I feel kind of like we're kind of in a marriageless society right now because nobody wants the government in their bed. But at the same time, I feel like it's going to be like kind of almost like a hipster thing to get married now. Like, because that's like so over the top traditional that it's like, fuck it,
Then
let's
it's
do
gonna
it.
come back around and be a trend again.
Yeah, because it's like, why not? I mean, maybe not for George.
You know what's really
I
cool?
think that the trend-
Proposals are sometimes really cool. Have you ever seen those videos of like
The cheesy
popping
proposals? No.
proposals where
I
like
can't
Yo,
watch
they do the
those.
the
dance.
pop up,
No.
the dancing, or the,
I can't- I can't do it. I would
die. I'd be like,
I think it's
fucking
actually
why?
how they put in a lot of effort.
Yeah, like if
To show love.
I mean,
Like,
that's
I've never
sweet.
loved someone
You're
so
so-
much to
oh
put in
you're
that
so
much
romantic.
effort.
You're so- you
would you do
like-
that for Bianca?
Yeah, what would you do for me?
For
Yeah.
Bianca,
What would you do?
Or
Can
the
we-
baby you
can we-
want to have with
What
her?
have you done for me?
I'm just saying.
just wanna
Observation.
hear.
You two look like.
Do we look similar? Everyone thinks
no,
I'm
you look-
Ethiopian.
A good
I'm like,
couple?
I'm not fucking
No,
Ethiopian.
they just look like.
You have a lot of pauses when you speak.
Yeah, I have a lot of
It's
pauses because I find the perfect word to say. They look.
You're just
and I'm
bilingual, huh? That's
And
why.
I've tried to filter savage, but they just look like they belong. Like
no, you know what it
Don't
is?
filter it, George. What you trying to say?
Actually,
They
with
do look good
Bianca,
together.
It's because you have a
They
unique
complement each
look
other.
that comes off ethnic, right? So people,
Yeah, people
because
think-
they don't know, what people need to do is put in boxes.
They
like,
do. Why do
how
they do that?
difficult is it, for example, for Persian people to understand
I
that
don't
you're
even tell
half
them.
Persian and have something else?
I
you know,
don't
people
tell them.
lose their minds
Wait, they
when
don't
they don't
know?
know me. And
No, if there's a Persian person and they're talking to me, I do not identify as Persian around them because it's like they think I dated a Persian guy and I'm lying and I'm like, they're just so suspicious. It's like they don't believe it.
do you speak Farsi?
Oh, that's
I speak Farsi, but I speak to my grandma who's Shirazi, and so she has a very thick accent. So I speak with kind of a Shirazi accent, and it's a little funny.
Can you introduce yourself in that accent, just like
No, I don't wanna
well,
do
even with the
I don't-
accent,
I
don't-
the
I
wanna hear it.
introduction wouldn't be different. It's just there's certain words that would come off.
I'll explain to you. Like, there's a word for like the right pronunciation is nimidam, and in Shirazi it's namdanam. So it's like kind of.
It
over-
would be like
Nandinam.
Southern. It would be like Southern English
Nendenum's kind of popular.
versus New Yorky
It's kinda
English.
popular.
Or,
It's a rap song.
Nendenum.
it's a specific.
Do you
accent.
speak Farsi?
Yeah, he speaks Farsi, and it's good. Give us a little taste.
Yeah.
Poppy.
I speak
Little flavor.
Farsi.
Give us a little taste,
Come on.
puppy.
That's the thing.
That's in private. For
I
you
would
two.
say.
She's
Name me
asking
Dunam.
you, and you won't. Give
I
it to
would
her.
say name me Dunam.
Yeah, because he's a bougie ass Persian.
I'm a
dude.
bougie Persian. That
But
is.
the real motherfuckers from Shiraz, we be saying nam to nam.
Yeah.
Nam to nam.
It's just different.
What's nam to nam though? What is that?
Name
What do you
Dunam
say?
means I don't know.
I know.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay.
So
Interesting.
it's just interesting because we do live in a society. For example, you know, I was having a conversation just last night with someone who thought that mixed people made up something like 20% of America's population.
That sounds accurate.
That does, right?
I would
Clearly
say
not
it's
even close.
more, but-
It's less than 2%.
Are you
Like,
serious?
People just
Wait,
don't mix.
mixed-
No.
That's not my
What is your
opinion.
definition of mix?
Of people who have parents that are different races. So
Okay.
that concept is
That's
people
true.
don't marry. They don't marry or procreate for the most part. People don't understand numbers. So when we live in LA,
Preach,
People
when
man.
you
don't
live in
research
LA,
numbers.
you
They
just
just take
think
it for
that
granted.
like there's so many other things. The same person thought that something like 60-70% of the population were minorities, like Black and Hispanic.
Where?
That's just in
In
LA.
In the country.
Oh, in the country's
In the
whole-
country.
And
No.
I was like, no.
That's just not a
Black
right
people
person.
are like 14% of the population.
And not only is that the case, do you know there's less than 10,000 Black people in places like Vermont, Rhode Island? Like less
yeah,
than
that makes
10,000,
sense.
period.
That makes sense.
It's so real. People don't realize these things.
I'll tell you why that happened is when people were immigrating from overseas, like the first waves, they created, I guess you'd call it homogenous sub-communities. So like that's why in New York you have like a Chinatown.
Yeah,
or you
yeah,
have
sure.
like
You actually have a Chinatown. Like there's
Yeah, yeah.
Chinatown.
Well, all big
there's a
cities have
Chinatown
that.
in China.
But New York's
called
Chinatown
town.
is like a real Chinatown because so many other Chinatowns are hipsters with Americanized Chinese food. One restaurant they call it Chinatown. It's
That's
not
more
in
LA,
Chinatown in
though.
New
I
York, they're
don't-
just eating dog and
No,
octopus.
Chinatown, New York is like official.
There's
I think that's
Chinatowns in
authentic.
every country in the world. That's
And-
really how you know.
But what happens is like these immigrants, right? They came to this country and they're saying, all right, we want to keep our heritage alive. We're going to live within this community. What happens when you live within the community? Your children marry other children.
Well, no.
That's why you have
absolutely.
less and less
Communities
mix.
encourage it too. Actually, the
the
only
Persian community.
the only community that
Southern
really
California.
doesn't encourage it is the black. The black community is the most accepting of being racially diverse in your relationship. Other communities,
That's
even
pretty true.
everyone advocates marrying quote unquote their own, and the black community is like it's cool if you marry outside, which is an interesting
Well, which
dichotomy
is-
on its own.
I didn't know that. That is very
Yeah, there's a big backlash against that too, with a lot of prominent male black celebrities who are dating outside the race and not dating
That's because
black
they're all
women.
dating white women. And there was this one
True.
NFL picture that caught me where it was 10 black men and their potential partners or partners, and all of them were white. All of them were white blonde girls. And it's like, I understand, but it's sometime when you have black men who specifically say things like, I don't fuck with black women. That's not a good thing. When
That's
you have a
not good at
Kodak
all.
Black who points at his own skin and goes, I don't date girls this color. There's some amount of self-hate that exists.
I read this thing that
It's very
said
deep self-hate, actually.
that-
It's actually sad.
totally, and I read this thing that said black women are the only women who have to wonder if their men actually like them. Like a white girl is never going to be like, does he like whites? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, sure, from a certain level, even if you have a preference, like your race accepts
A
each
white
other.
person would date
I
another
disagree.
white
Yeah,
person.
I
it wouldn't be
disagree
like-
with that. I see the points you guys are making, but I've definitely had those thoughts when I dated someone black that I wasn't sure.
No. We're
Or
saying
like I
white.
liked him.
We're
Sure.
saying
Yeah,
white.
I'm white.
No.
No,
You're
you're-
not getting
you're-
a
Now she's
black
white.
woman is the only person. Like you wouldn't think
The
that
black
if you
girl would
dated a
never-
white person. Like
We're
if
talking
you
about if
dated
you date
another
your own-
Ukrainian,
your
you
own-
would never say, "Oh, does he even date Ukrainians?" Like that would not be a
Okay,
thought
saying
that
like
crossed
that.
your mind.
Or a Chinese girl's never going to see a Chinese guy and be like, oh, he might not even want to like even find
Okay, I
me.
see
You know
what
what I
you're
mean?
saying.
It's like,
But why is it in a lot of these cultures?
But I do-
Sorry, go ahead.
But I do have to make another point too. Well, I agree with you guys, but just speaking from my own experience, when I date, actually, I'm dating someone African. So every time, most of the time that a black girl sees us together, I get the meanest looks.
For
the
sure.
meanest,
That's normal.
meanest
Sure.
looks.
that's normal, Nelya.
I know, but
Sure.
I'm just saying, like,
And I can
it
understand
comes
that.
from their like insecurity. Then
It's not
but
about their
not-
insecurity.
No, it's not that.
about
It's how their men have made them feel. Then
It's about
how
the fact that in their
society-
in the community, black women are the least likely to find a partner, and especially a black partner. So it's very difficult
It's,
for
like,
them to
threatening,
see.
yeah.
They're the ones who are least quote unquote wanted overall. So it's a difficult thing, and that sucks. That's
Yeah.
gotta suck to feel like, who do I date? Even my own black men are dating not me. And it's not like you see a lot of white men dating black women. It's not like you see.
They get more applauded when they do versus a black man dating a white.
Yeah,
lady.
because you give a lot of like, hey, this white guy doesn't know what he's in for, you know?
And in a lot of minorities, it's acceptable to date their own or white. Like for
Yeah,
example,
white
a lot
is
of people.
neutral.
Exactly.
What is up with that? Like I want to understand that a little more.
Because we've decided, look,
does
even
it have anything to do with like their countries being conquered by
of
white
course,
soldiers?
colonialization plays a large part, but there's also a subconscious level that white is right. We all, even when we give white privilege, it's a subconscious thought. Like white privilege just literally means a white person feels entitled while other people don't. We can also feel entitled. There is nothing that stops us. We can do everything that white people do. We choose not to as we give them the authority to do so. So I'm not, because a lot of people sit there and blame white people, and I'm not a fan of that. The perpetuation happens in our own cultures. You want to know about the black community? Okay, well, what if the black people in this country decided tomorrow we would all just get our acts together? You know what? We're tired of all this. We're going to be perfect tomorrow. You know what? The NFL's racist. You know, I was thinking, what does it take to start our own football league? Grass and a ball and black players, because that's the majority, right? Well, we have that. Let's start our own. Like, you could do that. the Oscars so white, well then let's give importance to the BET Awards. Let's make those the important awards, and we don't care if we win Oscars. We care if we win BET Awards, but we don't do that. All those football players that are kneeling right now and making a big deal out of it, well instead, why don't you take your $100 million out of Chase Manhattan and put it in One Nation Bank or another black bank, and let's make that black community that you obviously care about so much stronger.
But the problem is there isn't good examples of black people mobilizing and not getting completely annihilated on a federal level, on a state level, through legislation, or just through plain old like vigilante justice. Have you ever heard of Black Wall Street?
Sure, of course.
And it's just like a prosperous town.
And they burned it down.
A prosperous town in the 30s or 40s of all black people, black banks, black owned businesses, black like thousandaires, millionaires, you know what I mean? And they did not like it. The white people in surrounding towns felt threatened, and they burned them to the ground.
Sure,
Wow.
but you know what? It's not the 30s or 40s anymore.
It isn't, but when you have system, like, you know, we're in this
Systematic disenfranchisement of the black community.
And I understand
so
but
long, yeah.
What I'm saying is, like, you're enslaved for 300 years. You spend 100 years fighting for your freedom, and now all of a sudden, oh yeah, we're equal. It's like there is self-imprisonment.
Sure.
That
And
takes
that's
a
what
while to get over, and it might not be in the generation.
So how many generations do you guys think
I read
it
a
would take?
statistic that it's going to take black people like 100 and something years to get on the same level as white people, and that really bummed me out. I was like,
I
no.
disagree. I think
I
the
disagree
Mexicans
too.
are going to come in and just beat
Your
everybody.
people.
So you
Well, I
are
think the
Mexican.
Mexicans
are-
You were
Yo,
right,
Mexicans are
Bianca.
the
What a
Right.
taco!
Of course.
Yo,
What a
watch the
taco.
politicians
What
too.
a
yo.
secret
But
taco.
the,
man.
Go eat a taco,
concept
Paco.
is this plays out in every aspect, and it plays out in dating. And so
Yeah.
that's why it's difficult, which makes it a very weird transition. But what's the best way to get laid? Because
So wait,
like, with all these things going on,
that's a
what
very
is a
smooth
guy
transition.
supposed to do? What's a nigga supposed to do? Like, what?
Why don't you ask your dick lawyer?
No.
I don't like that name. It makes
I
me
know.
uncomfortable.
I actually
'cause
really
you don't like
am,
meat.
I'm going to get you business cards and say dick lawyer.
I would rather be an animal advocate
Ew! Stop with your pauses.
why are you talking about animals
animal.
again?
because you got
We're
to
talking
find
about sex and you keep changing it. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
something
why
more
are
Do
you
you
so
not
uncomfortable?
want to get laid? Is that
Why are you
what
so
you're saying?
uncomfortable? Are your parents listening? It's fine.
No, actually, George is he's gone through a transformation in life
Yeah.
where he's now
Tell
a
us.
positive person.
positive.
You
And
can be
he
positive in
just-
sex talking.
No, he
No,
doesn't.
like listen. Let me explain the positive.
He wants
Explain,
higher-
George.
Okay.
There's a savage underneath this cape, and I'm trying very hard not to unleash the beast. So you know what? The pauses are a self-editing monitoring
Calm
system.
down, Matt Lauer.
I thank you. High five.
Matt Lauer.
I was trying
Matt
to
Lauer.
understand.
Don't
I was just
associate
trying
me
to
with Matt.
understand.
Yeah, can we not? I didn't even know who Matt Lauer was. Like
I didn't either until I saw the picture. I was like, what's that guy?
I was like, today, I didn't really know who Matt Lauer was. And this
so
is actually
funny.
encouraging me to sexual harass someone because it's like, yo, now you're famous. Like, I didn't know what Harvey Weinstein looked like.
Yeah.
And I never want to blame the victim because I think it's really powerful that these women are speaking up. And I'm hoping that this is a case where now women overall feel more comfortable speaking. But if you date R. Kelly now, it's your fault, bitch. Like, don't. I'm just saying.
He paused,
Well, that's true. Like
and
you're
then
very,
he just
you don't have to
I
search
thought that
very
was
long
going
to find
somewhere.
out what
he
she did.
paused, and then he said like what I would try not to say after the pause.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
hilarious.
just
Good.
unleash it.
He's
You know
reading
what?
your mind.
I was told imperfect gentlemen are imperfect, and they just let loose, and they don't hold back, and there's no apology.
Yo, she's trying to get the
You're
savage
trying
out, bro.
really hard to get him the savage out, and I don't.
Trying to-
I
Let
don't
me
want
tell
He's
you
a
I
little
don't-
something.
scared.
I'm not going to
not-
say where
I'm
I
a little
took
scared
these.
of what's
Scaredy
underneath.
cat.
I'm not going to say where I took these classes. I took a course, and in this course, it said that basically,
LACC.
Self-discipline?
if you broadcast bad news, you become negative.
Oh, and
So
you're
what-
technically actually broadcasting.
So what I did, even a Facebook post, like if something goes wrong during your day, there's no need to share that negative incident with everyone. Share something positive instead. So if all the
That's like
people are
life
like,
in general, no?
if all the people were like, so and so got shot, and they think they're bringing an awareness, right? But what they're actually doing is they're just repeating the issue instead of saying, go to your local, wherever you go, lobbyists and take this action to prevent this from happening again. That's a more positive step versus a negative one.
Well, how does that work with this?
So with me is I have a lot of young people following me. But what I mean by that is Simon the captain. So I'm like his role model, and
Simon?
Simon.
There's a guy named Simon who
He's
is
my only
an
true supporter.
advocate of imperfect.
So
gentlemen.
if I say something,
Love you, Simon.
He's like my little brother, So if I say something negative, it's going to impact his train of thought. So
you just
want
want to be a good role model for
He
people
wants
who
to
are
be a
looking up
positive
to
role
you.
model.
I want to
That's
have a
good.
positive
I can
impact
respect
on my
that.
community.
And me, okay, on the outside I act like I don't care, but deep down inside,
I
don't
definitely
give a
don't think you
fuck.
act like you
here's-
don't
I
care.
don't give a
I
fuck.
feel like all you've shown today is how much you care and how knowledgeable you are.
I mean, it's about I care about principles.
Principalities.
So
And
I'll
also,
always be an
yeah.
advocate of
And
of
also
a
the
principle.
power of words. We underestimate the power of words. So
Often.
if you put a word out into the universe, guess what? The energy is still floating somewhere
Oh, yeah.
of that word. That impact on people
It
still
never ends.
exists.
Yo,
It's
What's my
difficult to-
favorite word? Bitch.
It is my favorite word. How'd you guys know?
It's such a great word.
So I like to be selective with my words. And I noticed the former president, Barack Obama, had a pause because he was very selective with
You
what
just
he said.
copying him.
Sort of. Yeah. I've been told that my voice sounds like a mixture of Ross from Friends and Barack Obama. I'll let you make
By
what you
who?
want out of that.
Who told you that?
By about
I can hear that a little
1,000
bit.
Facebook,
I hear a lot. I
about
hear more
1,000
Ross.
YouTube
Definitely
comments
more
on
Ross.
a Michelle Phan video with Tehran. So thank you.
The one that was
All
taken
right.
down.
All right.
George
all right.
found
Okay,
out.
we heard
George
you.
found his
Okay.
strong inner black woman. He's like, so thank you.
Let's figure this out.
Habibi.
We have 3 things we do need to actually talk about.
Yes, let's
We
do
want
it.
to talk about Louie CK because we have an expert in the building.
Hello.
Right? We want to talk about Meghan Markle because once again, we have an expert in the building.
Hello.
But third of all, we want to talk about how to get laid. And we have experts once again in the building.
Why am I the expert?
Because you're
On-
Ukrainian, you're sexy. I mean,
Yeah.
So, let's get into our first topic. Let's get
let's
into
go.
Louis, right?
Louis CK. Let's talk about Louis CK. Now, if you don't know about the allegation of Louis CK, which he's come out and admitted to, is the fact that he sexually harassed certain women who came into the room and he would just start masturbating. So he'd whip his dick out and start jerking off and make the girls feel extremely uncomfortable and lewd conduct. Now, as a person who's at the Comedy Store, do you think, first of all, the allegations are true? Even though he hasn't admitted details, but he said there's like basically enough truth, whatever. Number 2, how do you feel about this whole situation?
Okay, well, the first one I'm not going to comment on just because it's like, I don't want to speak on behalf of the Comedy Store and make a comment
Sure.
to them. So I'm just.
No, but I'm saying you're around it. I'm not
Oh,
saying you're speaking on
around it.
behalf of the Comedy Store. You're just around comedians and you see their behavior and you've seen Louis CK.
I have. It never, like, really.
He never
just-
jerked off in front of you.
No, he
Let's
never
just-
did. It's so
Nelya,
weird.
did he ever?
No, I feel a little left out.
Now would be the time. This would be a great time. Even if he didn't, you
out.
might want to say, okay, I just
He just seemed like a guy that
ratings.
just, seriously. No, he just really did his shows and then left. Like that was it. There's no like and then. But in general, there's a lot of rumors about a lot of comedians that some have come to surface, some haven't. And I think the problem is that you get kind of scrutinized in the public forum before like things can get actually verified or not verified. So there's this new check and balance of the internet where like information spreads like wildfire and you really can't contain it, whether it's 100% true, 50% true, completely fabricated. So it's really hard to like, you know, you can buy into the mob mentality, like, yeah. Oh, and this person and that person. But then it's
Groupthink.
like, what if you were like, I always call it the Simpsons mob, you know, the mob and the Simpsons that would
It's
just yell one
brilliant,
thing
yes.
and be like, rah, you know, but even the thing might not be the most intelligent, you know, thought. So nowadays, it kind of gets me a little scared because what if maybe even on this radio show I'd said something and someone's like, oh, she's a racist.
They take it
Or
and
she's
edit
a
it and
this.
make it seem like
and then
it's-
they only play that. I would
So take it
feel
out of
like
context.
so uncomfortable. Like, no. I'm what? No, I don't hate white people. I don't hate this. I don't hate that. And so I feel really conflicted about the rumors surrounding the comics. I know so many rumors that there's people that we all are like making bets like, oh, he'll probably go down next year and he blah, blah, blah. But in the end, like, I don't know. Do you want to be part of that? Like, do you want to be the Hannibal to the Bill Cosby? You know what I mean? You know, because that was kind of the catalyst. Those rumors were around for a long time.
Sure. And then Hannibal just brought it to what people feel is like a public spotlight, amongst other things. A lot of people don't realize that there are actual PR companies that are hired in order to place this information with news sources. And
Really? Do
Wait,
they
by
have,
who?
Do
What
they
a
have
petty-
anything to do
what
with
a
the
petty
elections?
ass-
I'll give you a
PR.
perfect example.
Do they have anything to do
It
with the
would be
elections?
petty PR.
I'll give you a perfect
No,
example.
everything's perfect in our world.
Martin Shkreli, who is the
Oh, yeah.
pharmaceutical
Fucking guy. Yeah.
CEO. Sure,
What was he
but
called again?
why do
Pharma
you-
bro?
Sure, but why do you feel that way? And here's the thing.
I'll tell you exactly. Because he fucking got this Wu-Tang record
album Sure.
for like $1 million or $2 million.
$2 million.
Like, I'm just gonna destroy it. And I'm like,
sure,
fuck
because
you.
he purchased it. See, here's the thing.
That's the only reason why.
This is a perfect example of how the public is judge, jury, and executioner.
For sure.
The law doesn't exist in order to put you in your place or check your attitude. So everyone hates his smirk. Now, what I'm not saying what he did wasn't criminal, but what he did that was criminal was not what the public thinks he did criminal. He's not in jail because he raised the price on pharmaceutical drugs.
He said
Yeah,
he was
allowed
making
to.
it available to people who couldn't afford it.
That's actually no. I mean, he raised the price 100 times
100
on these, 30 times on a pill there's a pill called Thelio that people need to take like 15 of them a day, and they used to cost $1.50 to $2 a pill, and he had his company buy the patent on it and then raise it to $30 a pill, which makes it exuberant amount for someone, especially if they don't have insurance. But that's not the problem. That's not why he's a dickhead, because he smirks about it. There are companies that do exactly the same thing. Hospitals that charge you $800 for an IV bag when it costs less than $1 to make. But they do it with a smile. So people hate smirkers, like they hate smug people. This guy is just
Hate
a
people
smug
who rub
person,
it
a
into
person
your
whose
face,
both
yeah.
his parents were janitors and came from very humble, meek beginnings and made his way. He just acts like an asshole. So we're like, he needs to be in jail. He's in jail for securities fraud. What he did was he would basically short sell companies and then talk about it so that other people would short sell this company, folding companies, which is illegal. Now,
So that's illegal,
Do
yeah.
people do it? Yeah. When Martha Stewart went to jail for it, no one was on the side of the government. Martha Stewart's just the nicest person.
Mm-hmm.
Well, just because he's a dickhead doesn't mean we need to punch him. And that's the problem, especially
Martha
when
Stewart
we
didn't
see
do that. Martha Stewart used insider information.
insider information, which is the same. It's securities fraud.
yeah,
It's all part of the same umbrella.
One person
of
was just
crime.
trying to save their damn money, and another person was. I mean, I get it. The problem is that, and I get what you're saying. You're saying that, like, hey,
We hate his attitude when
Someone's
there's a
gloating
lot
about
of people who are doing what he's doing that smile and they're not in jail, and they also deserve to be in jail for
Yeah.
it, because we all pay the price. The mortgage crisis, no one went to jail, and that was a bunch of Martin Shkreli's who smirked behind closed doors and then said, I don't know what happened into our faces, where we actually had a bailout. We bailed them out with our money, with public citizen money, in order to make sure that their finances were secure, because it would cause such calamity overall. That's what I'm talking about. So people hate Martin Shkreli, but it's really just there were PR firms hired, by the way, by the two companies that he resigned from and did these things for. They hired to
Petty.
push out the negative information, and he
to amplify
himself
the
fed into
negativity.
it.
Absolutely.
So that's what happens. There are people like Pamela Geller who put these commercials of their Muslim jihadists on buses trying to get other people to join the jihad. She's a Jewish Zionist company holder who pushes this to get anti-Islamic sentiment into the public. That is not my opinion.
What?
That is true. So that happens.
Hold on, there's an
Not okay.
actual billboard that is promoting jihads?
Yeah, actually, it was on
Which
buses in
country?
New York.
Here.
New
Oh,
York?
wow.
In New York City, and it would say like, "This is me, my jihad. What is yours?" And it would be like a guy looking like he's plotting to blow up a building or something like that. And it would even had like a fake company that you could contact to try to join the jihad, when it was actually an advertisement not placed by any jihadic organization but by Pamela Geller.
Oh my God.
That's,
Wow.
and then
What
we
a
also,
bitch.
on the flip side, we have people like Linda Sarsour, who does the exact same thing against Israel and Jews in general. Like, it happens. The PR battle is very real.
Well, it's just people with power and information and how they use it. And I think that's been going on for a very long time, and it still
sure.
is. But I kind of want to take us back to Louie CK, to where we started, because I have an opinion to share. And I
Go
want to
ahead,
hear the rest
Nelya.
of
You've
yours.
got the floor.
Okay. So, my opinion is definitely not the popular one. I never met him. I've seen him just once at the Comedy Store. He performed a great set. I just think that if it's something that he didn't force the women, from what I understand from the information we have right now. Obviously, I don't have a way of knowing 100%, but if the women were not forced to stay in the room, I just don't see how they have so much grounds to take someone out. And it's not that they're doing it. It's like you're saying, there's companies, there's forces behind it that are doing it for their own interest, and there's money that these women are probably getting, they're benefiting in some way, and so they're going with it. I think there's so much more behind it, because how is it?
I can understand that sentiment, because if I walked in a room and George was jerking off, I'd be like, all right, bro, I see that you're busy. I'll be back.
Let's pick this up later.
Well, you raise a striking point. What's happening is all of these people who are displaying sexually inappropriate behavior.
I'm not supporting that you should be sexually inappropriate.
But the problem is, and what you pinpointed is, we're now throwing them all in the same bucket. So we're throwing sexually inappropriate in the same bucket as
rape,
as someone who rapes or sexually assaults, and I don't know if I'm comfortable with that. If you make a slip and now you're grouped with these people, and it doesn't matter.
Absolutely,
this is a witch hunt right now. So if you slip, you're basically a rapist because you're now in the pot with the rapist. So in a PR perspective, and that's why it's kind of scary. No one's perfect. If all these accusers came out with all of their sexual experiences and things they've done, well, it may not be so kosher at the end of the day. And that does concern me as well. I'm not defending the actions. Sure. I think you're a freaking creep to like be thrashing yourself in front of somebody who's like uninvited. I think that's really weird. But I don't think it's the same thing as running in someone's house and raping them.
Yeah, I think, the witch hunt is just, it's affecting the dynamic between males and females as a whole. And that makes me very, very uncomfortable and very...
How so? What do you mean sad. It's affecting the dynamic?
Well, we have guys who like kind of joke, but they're like, they'll walk by us like, well, at work or outside of work, my guy friends will be like, oh, I'm not touching you, I'm just saying hi, haha, like as a joke. But then that's kind of offensive to me, because I do want my friends or coworkers to still be themselves. I'm not saying come and grope me, but I don't want you to walk around me like basically you're suspecting that I would already accuse you of something, even if you walked too close to me.
I definitely
I don't like that at all. I don't like that, and that makes me so heated.
In life in general, and I'm a careful person in general, but I've been even more careful to the point where like
everyone's shook.
If I'm taking a picture, I will. If a girl's like, "Can we take a picture?" I'll be like, "Sure." Do you feel comfortable if I put my hand on your shoulder?
Yeah, well, you can ask. Yeah, that's
but
nice.
I mean, it's just the thing. And awareness is great, but we're going from one extreme to another extreme, which is also because guys are now like, if I hit on a girl, because sometimes some people are being accused when they simply hit on a girl. Now, mind you, Matt Lauer had a button installed in his office.
That's crazy.
Which to
that
me
threw me off. Yo.
Well, that's
weird,
because he didn't do that himself. He called someone.
Yeah, he's
in
not
HR.
like MacGyver.
He's like, hey, Catherine. Hi. Yeah, it's Matt. I need a automatic lock on my door that I hit a button under my desk to lock in people. Is that something maintenance can do?
Pretty sure that's not how he went about it. I'm sure he was smarter.
Is it possible that someone was stopping by for a quickie and they wanted the door to be? I guess they could just lock it themselves.
No, listen. There's never been a time where you need to have a button. Look, like
George,
unless you're like an evil,
like Mr. Burns.
Mr. Burns, and you hit the button and someone drops. There's no reason to have this button.
There's no need for that.
Now, it's the same thing. Like, there's no reason for a drug dealer to sell roofies. You're basically just selling rape. Like, you're not. No one's like, yo, I need those roofies, nigga.
If your desk is right there,
turn up.
If your desk is right there and the door is where it is, isn't it convenient
get up
to not get up, to just press the button?
You know what? There's never a time where you need to go click. I'm sorry. That's it. Look.
No,
but
he's
it
probably
would be really creepy if you were in a room with a guy and then all of a sudden he just moseys to the door. It's like, click.
Like, I actually think it's even creepy. I think it's creepy if you're with a guy and he just randomly has condoms. Like, I think that's like, I want you to have to be like, oh, I don't have any. I have to go to the store and
buy some.
Like, so it's not like you're just always full of bitches.
But what if you bought a big box at Costco? It just lasts you a long time.
That's always an awkward moment. In my pre-reformed dating years.
Oh God.
What would be awkward is
George
exactly
is so
what you
interesting
said.
to me. I'm kind of attracted right now.
Oh my God. Put your hand on his thigh.
No, that's
sexual
inappropriate.
harassment.
Oh, sorry.
No,
Thanks,
Bianca.
Hey,
my hands are right here, everybody.
Hey, everyone.
Right here.
Oh no, George has a button.
So this would be a real life scenario, okay? College days, lady would invite me over, and exactly what he just said. I wouldn't know whether I should bring a condom because obviously it's a safer thing to do to have that condom with me, or to be like, oh, I don't have one. So I would go with option B, to be a gentleman. Oh, I don't have one. I wasn't planning. And what was worse was she's like, I got one right here. Let's go. And I'm like, oh, man, who was just here last night? So it's just,
Now she's a hoe.
no, that's
Yeah,
not.
exactly.
I think everyone's a hoe. So don't.
I think
no,
everyone-
listen.
well,
I
that's
think
easy. There you go.
Let me help everyone out real quick.
Help
I think
us, Tehran.
Like if you were like, yo,
Facts.
Mother Teresa, hoe. Like, listen, it's just going.
So you're saying
down the
everyone's
line.
a sexual being?
Just
Yes, that's just the fact.
Everyone is a
Mother
hoe.
Teresa
Now the
was
level
not a
of
hoe.
hoe-ness
But
is
she's
up to
definitely
you.
not a hoe. Yeah.
Who, Mother Teresa?
Yeah.
She's a-
You don't know what she
Not a
did.
good, not a good.
Well, I don't, but I would not call her that.
Yo, I'm saying
Okay.
hoe. Like, listen,
You
like,
stick with that.
I'm going with every
Mother
look,
Teresa?
Out of respect, I would not
Listen.
say that about her.
Come
Listen.
on, man.
Yeah.
dog. It's
George, come on, defend
anything.
Mother Teresa.
anything
Is Mother
you do.
Teresa an actual mother?
Dog, if
I've
you
always
really
wondered.
think about
Does
it,
she
like,
have kid? Did she?
I would hate
No,
to
she's a
say
nun,
this
right?
in real life, but I don't know about the wholeness of my mom. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if my even it's like if nothing else, she's
she
the
listen
bitch
to the
that
show?
fucks my dad. Like, she really like
was gonna say
my
mom or
mom.
dad.
Listen, and I have brothers and sisters. That means they fucked while I was there. You know what I'm saying?
How rude,
like
huh?
I was
Bruh.
4, nigga. Like
We
you're.
don't need to do this, Tehran.
I'm just saying.
This is,
But
no,
This is
'cause
getting
I'm thinking
really
about
personal. I feel like this
rough.
is something
See?
your
You know
therapist
You know what? I was
should
gonna
hear.
ask. I was gonna ask if your mom or your dad was Persian, but your name is Tehran, so your mom has to be black.
My dad is Persian.
you
my
know, she was like,
mom
"We gonna
is
name
black."
him the capital,
Yeah.
bitch." So you know, my son Persian.
Yeah, that's so real. And you know what? You have to be black and Persian to understand it. Because people be like, oh my God, your dad named you Tehran. I'm like, no. My
Persian
dad
person
would have
over there.
never thought of the name Tehran. No other Persian person's named Tehran.
Nobody.
I was the first Tehran.
Wait,
now,
so your mom really thought of your name? I thought it was your
yeah, of
pops.
course. She thought it sounded
No
black
way.
and
No Persian
Persian
would do that.
It's Tehran and it's Tehran. And to her, it was
Tehran.
And it's Terrence.
And that's why
That's
there's
so
no
great.
Persian people named Tehran, but there are black people named Tehran.
What if my name was Shiraz?
Then,
My cousin Esfahan.
yeah, those are other cities for those who don't know.
Shiraz?
And
Is
if
that
you
where
were Shiraz,
Shirazi
you would
salad
not be able to
comes
say
from?
Yeah,
no.
Shirazi
Yes.
salad.
It came
Shirazis are
from
beautiful.
Shiraz?
Shirazis are the most
Shiraz
beautiful.
is a very educated, wonderful, ancient city in Iran.
It's
Yeah,
beautiful.
I want to go visit Iran.
There's a
It
lot
sounds
of
so dope.
beautiful, like Hafez's grave is there.
A poet, a very prominent Persian poet that is actually world renowned.
He's amazing, and they also say girls from Shiraz have like Shirazi eyes, like very big and beautiful eyes. That's right,
Nice.
George. Hate on it.
No, I like
That's
I like
code
big
for
eyes.
hoes. Listen, here's,
I like big eyes because I got
And
these.
we're back.
I got
And
these.
we're back.
I got these droopy half moon Drake eyes, so I appreciate
You
big
have
eyes.
droopy eyes.
Yeah, I like
So-
big
They work
eyes.
for your face.
We're so glad
I'm
you
like a
finally
panda.
said it.
They-
Nobody
they
wanted
work-
to say it.
I'm like a panda.
so with Louie CK,
Bunda.
I don't know if the punishment fit the crime. I do think that what he did was extremely inappropriate
Wait,
behavior.
Can I say one thing about Lucy
Yeah,
K?
of course.
And that's the thing that's happening. And this is the one thing I don't like because I don't have to like your behavior to, and maybe this is not a popular opinion, but like, I don't think we should start taking people's art off websites and availability. Like, just because, you know, like you can't find Louis CK's shows anywhere. You can't find his stand up on Netflix. You can't find anything.
Oh,
And
they
like,
took him off the flick.
He's
everything.
done. He's gone
He's
off.
done.
He's
He's gone off. But
erased.
that to me is insane because
Hold on, I
how
have a
many
question.
artists,
It's
how
a
many
form of
amazing
punishment.
artists in the past
What if-
were fucking psychos?
Let's take it to the next level. Let's say Louis CK turned out to be a KKK member. Would you still think that?
100%.
Would you think it if he was one of the hijackers on 9/11? See,
The thing is, do you know how many artists I probably like in all different like realms, painting, like music, who are probably fucking racist, who use the N-word? I don't know, you know, but I
Well,
like
at
their
any
art.
time you liked any show that came on before 1970,
Yeah, 100%.
I just want to
I
know
love-
how
Any
Murder,
actor
She Wrote,
between- yeah,
Mama's
oh.
Family,
Matlock?
Matlock.
I
Stop it.
I
I
don't
love
know,
all
I
those
agree
shows.
because like Chris Brown made a mistake when he was younger. He has some of the most amazing music out
Sure.
on his new album, so I can't imagine him not being able to put it out.
Yeah.
Sure, Chris Brown beat up Rihanna. That's wrong. Like,
Period.
here's the
That's
thing: you
wrong.
should. I think that
So you want to ban his music?
we are.
Yeah, there's like a line that needs to be
forcing
drawn.
progression in society, which I don't like it, but I still understand and advocate it. So when this country wasn't ready for desegregation, Brown v. Board of Education happened in 1954.
Work.
And it made, do you know why all, for example, the schools in Virginia, Fairfax, Virginia, have you ever noticed how they're all like newer schools? Do you know why? Because in Virginia, they took desegregation so badly, they literally burned down all the public schools. So that's why there are new schools. However, now we live in a society where people are more mixed. Now, the concept of desegregation in its own, I have a whole different autonomous opinion on that, where I don't think it was actually good for Black society. However, I do understand progressing society in order to understand something. So whether you believe it or not, there should be a law. The fact that there even needs to be a law on gay marriage, that's absurd, but there needs to be, I don't care if you like it or not. If you don't serve or cater cake to a gay couple, we need to take you to court. There needs to be some retribution for that, because that's how society progresses, or everything would stay the same for so long and nothing would move forward.
So how are you going to get Chick-fil-A to open on a Sunday, bro?
No, look, Chick-fil-A is actually so delicious. I would choose Chick-fil-A over gay
love
people.
Chick-fil-A.
But what I'm saying,
I'm gonna get it
like
after
if
this.
Chick-fil-A was like, we want to bring back slavery, I'd be like, where's the cotton? Yum, yum, yum. Like Chick-fil-A is delicious. But
That was too easy.
You know, damn right,
Too
you'd be a house
easy.
nigga.
Just a little
You would
fried
be a
chicken.
house nigga.
for if gas went under $2,
You would not be in the
you
field
could-
picking cotton. You'd be up there with massive.
He would be a slave driver.
He
So
would
wait, do
definitely
we
not be
agree-
in the field.
No, he would be a
I
slave
would
driver.
never be in the field.
He would, if Tehran existed.
We sick, massive.
If Tehran existed during slavery, because there were some white slaves, I feel like he would have made every slave white, and he would have been a slave driver. I could just totally.
Well,
see
there
it.
were also Black slave owners. So
Yeah.
I think that I always advocate.
He would have enslaved everyone.
I always advocate for the principle. So regardless of what a principle is, I am a person who bases life on principles rather than individual situations. Whether it's good for me or not, I will live and die
So
by a
should Chris
principle.
Brown's music be removed?
I don't think his music should be removed, but I also see why he's not as big as an artist as he should be, because I don't think he should be getting Pantene Pro V commercials anytime soon. I think that
doesn't
we
have
should
hair.
remember when we bring up his name and they're like, why do they just keep bringing up Rihanna? Because we need to remember Rihanna. Because that
and
did
what she
happen.
went through. Absolutely.
And regardless of what she did, I think it's wrong for a man to put his hands on a woman. Unless she's a ninja who's threatening his life.
So that's where
Walk away.
Well,
I
then so
struggle with that thought. The reason why I struggle with that thought is not because I believe women should be beaten by men. It's
Oh, well, I'm
Yeah,
not
you
against no.
do.
because if we're talking about equality now, you know, I think it's
What?
kind of suppressive to say man shouldn't hit woman, because what if woman could kick man's butt? So
You know damn right a weak ass man is stronger than a kind of strong woman. Like just
Absolutely.
physically.
No, I don't know.
Tell that
I
to
don't know. I
Ronda
feel like
Rousey.
Nelia could take both.
No, not Ronda Rousey, someone who's been trained, but just like average, take an average guy.
Yeah, but-
I mean, in PE, we didn't have the same amount of push-ups, we didn't have the same amount of pull-ups. Like they weren't being
See,
sexist.
I was beat by both my Nigerian ex and my Jamaican ex, and
He
they
was
could,
Oh
beat
wow,
by
he
girls.
loved
That's
a
true.
and I
blacks.
guarantee they could
He
whoop.
loved a blacks.
I could guarantee
Yeah, he
they
did.
could
you-
whoop most of my homeboys.
Do you have jungle fever?
I don't know what that is.
Do you like
He
black girls?
enjoys. George is an equal opportunity
Oh.
dater, and
Asian,
it doesn't matter
black.
how big, how small, how
How
pretty,
big,
how
small.
not physically. So listen,
Well,
Sure,
absolutely
this
agree
is
that
so
assault
bad.
on men by women is taken lighter than assault assault on women by on men
Assault
by
on-
women. It's taken
You
lighter.
could beat a
the
dude,
other
you could punch a dude, and people are gonna be like, you know,
It's fine. He
probably not.
deserved it or something.
But here's
yeah,
the
it's
thing.
not fair.
But
I think it's
not fair,
uneven.
but we expect the same thing. For example, in the black community, we wouldn't be like, well, this is racist against whites. Men have been in charge so long that in order for women to catch up, this is how we feel and view it. So that's why.
But why should
Yeah.
things? Here's the thing. I don't get why things have to be fair all the time. Like things don't necessarily have to be fair in every aspect. Like why do we have to be?
Because
equal
fairness
in
is
everything?
the fair. See, equality and fairness are two different concepts that everyone misconstrues.
I'm
and
smart, so don't go there.
Confuses. I'm not saying
I'm
you. I
just
said
joking.
in general. So people think equality
levels-
means we're
lover-
exactly the
lover's
same.
quarrel.
No, it means we have equal value. Just because we
fight.
don't do the same thing doesn't mean that the value of the action isn't the same. So our
I see what you're
worth
saying.
in general is the same. We are not the same.
I'm just saying there's some topics where I think equality and fairness like both reside in, and that should be fought for. And then there's some where it's like, you know, like
Men should pay for
physically,
dates.
yes.
But why
Thank
wasn't
you. Well, I'm a Persian princess. so
why
I'll
wasn't
pay
Rihanna
for everything.
reprimanded for attacking Chris Brown?
How do you know? How do you know she attacked him?
It's in his documentary.
What happened? Who
He said
produced
that-
it?
yeah.
Who produced it?
Chris Brown.
Okay, great.
And
So
he
that's
said-
one opinion.
Who's stronger, Chris Brown or Rihanna?
I don't know. Yo, Rihanna looks like she could fight.
I don't think, but Chris Brown, I've seen him do a dance.
Rihanna's
move.
fine.
I
But why,
saw-
but why did
So
Chris
you
Brown
think you
stay
can
and put
dance
up
or
a
whatever
fight? Why
movie
didn't he
was
leave?
in? And
Why
that
did he
little-
make a
Why didn't he
documentary?
leave? Why did he fight back?
It's like if I
my
shot
thing is-
your dog and then I make a documentary about
think
how
it's-
like he bit me first.
I think it's wrong. That's a great point. I think
Great
Women are-
analogy.
I'm not saying it's right for women to hit men. That's not what I'm saying.
Is that
Me
what you're saying,
neither.
Teron? I'm
not.
confused.
I'm trying to explain that it's more wrong for men to ever lay a hand on women
Wronger.
because of the concept of what men are supposed to be, and that's we are supposed to be the protector of our women, and we can protect them and value and respect them
There you go.
all at the
That's
same
why.
time.
That's
They
why
are
it's
not
so
mutually
different.
exclusive.
I
Brother,
agree.
great.
I
Yes.
agree with everything he says, but I disagree with the viability of that in the progression we're going towards gender neutrality.
Well, no one's saying
I
that.
totally think our
lot of
society is
people are
going to
saying
gender neutrality.
Sure.
And I wonder how that concept can survive or that tradition can
I
survive.
don't
It will
think-
survive.
I like to open doors for ladies. I like to pay. You know what I'm saying? I like to.
At the end of the day, it's going to
Court
be
someone,
your
but-
preference, and if you want to stick with being more traditional in your views and your perspective,
But don't you think
no
this
matter how
gender-
far we progress.
Don't you think this gender neutrality trend, like I almost feel like it's
I don't like it.
Well, no, but I feel like it's almost like what you were saying about the myth of like the absentee black father, or there's so many minorities or there's so many mixed couples. It's like I don't think just because we're talking about it right now doesn't mean it's an actual issue that's happening and changing. Like sometimes things are just being talked about but not implemented as much as you think. Do you know what I mean? I feel like not everyone wants gender neutrality.
I think.
Yeah.
We also live in LA. We're like,
But I think society, the way
We're the
it's
ones that hear all the
going,
new ideas
is
first.
kind of pushing towards that more and more and more, and it's soon become like a snowball effect. It's going to become such a
But
strong
what's
momentum.
wrong with that?
And it's not going to happen.
I don't know that there is something wrong with it.
There's
I
enough
just
people that
think
disagree with it that won't go along with it.
Tradition will not survive as we know it. The
I think it
tradition
will.
of
I don't
man.
And what's
think
wrong with
so.
that exactly? I'm playing
No,
devil's advocate
I'm not saying
on this.
I'm not saying there's something wrong with it. I'm just saying when we try and hold on to our preference on tradition, we have to slowly start letting them go.
I mean, but do you think that because there's societies that have been around thousands of years that have these traditions that have lasted long, like they have
And they've
traditions.
worked
But
too.
if you look at a spectrum, the I guess the speed or the rate of change is happening. I think, Teron, correct me if I'm wrong. I think the rate of change is happening faster and stronger than it ever has.
And also the rate of
With
pushback is
technology.
happening.
but is that true, or does that just feel like it?
Do y'all know that a robot just became a citizen in Saudi
way.
Arabia? Why is Saudi Arabia of all places? I'm confused. But
Is it a woman?
It's a
That is
lady.
so
It's
crazy.
a half citizen.
and why she
because
wanted?
she's a sex slave robot.
She can't drive.
That's real.
No driving.
She won't
I
get
want to
You
far.
know
drive.
something that's interesting?
Habibi, I want to
Women
drive.
in Saudi Arabia don't all cover. That's something we just think here.
I knew that.
They don't all cover.
And I heard they could drive now.
They can't
They
drive.
do
They just
have.
got
They
the-
just got
right.
this right, but most still don't. But they don't all just cover. Like it's just interesting.
Dude,
the way they
imagine
think.
being like a female driver in Saudi Arabia that just got, and then the shit you get on the road. Like if you're just driving, they probably get like cut off, yelled
No,
at.
everyone
honked
gets got. Driving in Saudi Arabia is crazy. Just
Is
like
it like
driving
Iran?
anywhere.
I've never
It's
been
worse.
there. I don't know.
at. In Iran, it was terrible. There's no lines. There's just no line. It's just
People
crawl,
just drive
go
however
where
they
you
go.
want. This
So we
perpendicular-
never got to understand how you get laid.
No,
We never got to understand.
Well, I want to ask one question. So, do we agree that there should be kind of like a law or something set in stone that when these accusations happen against artists, that their art either stays alive, like doesn't get taken off ever,
think that's
or
public
there's like
opinion.
an amount of time where their art is inaccessible to us,
I think it's public
and then
opinion,
it comes
and
back.
it also creates now. Just like I said, I'm more careful. It
Mm.
creates a culture
Mm-hmm.
of respect towards which now, sure, we overtly think about it, but later we won't. Just like how I feel like younger kids
Mm-hmm.
aren't as racist or aren't racist compared to their grandparents.
That's
And
true.
it's because
Okay.
we made them not be racist, and we made their parents act like they're not racist to the point where the kid now is just not racist. Like
Mm-hmm.
younger white kids are way less racist than their predecessors by far.
Yeah.
No matter what we think or cultural appropriation or whatever, it's actually admiration in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
And I've never seen a generation of white people who wanted to be more black than now. In history, I guarantee you, if you went back to the 30s, no white person wanted to be black. That was like the last thing. And now if I asked 100%, like 70% of these kids would be like, I wish I was black, you know, like wish.
In New York, I'm really rock. They're just all singing all the trap music.
That's how it goes. So we didn't actually get to, but the
So it'll produce a level of respect.
amazing.
You're saying towards women.
Hopefully that's
That'll
what
be the
we
outcome.
hope.
Yeah.
The same way we hope that embargoes get citizens mad enough against their detrimental governments to uprise. We also hope that by administering progression, it actually leads to actual progression. So that's what the hope is. So we didn't get to Meghan Markle.
Oh, no.
I did just want to say Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, for everyone out there who thinks that Meghan Markle is like amazing. I love their couple, but Prince Harry's not marrying Rosa Parks. Like,
what do you think?
Stop making it a big thing.
Do you think she's attractive? Attractive level?
I think she's attractive.
Yeah, I'm a fan of the whole situation.
But
I
I
like it.
It's just like
I'm an actress and I feel a little gypped. I'm like, what the? You
could have been you.
Like
Could've been you.
C-list
Could've been you.
actresses.
But they
I am
definitely made
here.
her like somehow be related to the royal family. And
Yeah.
how-
Of course.
the Hussey,
Oh,
Lord
God.
Hussey, she's related to Lord Hussey in the 16th
They
century.
went back.
That's serious.
They went back.
And you think, and
I
I
don't
think
have a
the
strong
British
opinion
are
on this.
secret because they are the best undercutters. They're the best like neggers ever because they'll be like, oh, she's related to Lord Hussey, like the word Hussey. And then they'll also say things like Prince Harry and family very receiving of divorced 36-year-old actress
Rude.
Meghan Markle.
Like,
Dog,
backhand-
hilarious.
backhanded
and getting
compliment.
laid, I guess we're gonna have to find out later.
wait, can we just ask George? We want to know. Just can he just answer and no one else? Like, I want to know how you get laid.
Yeah, how?
You get laid.
How do you? How does step
What are
one?
the
Like,
steps?
You just cater to the person.
do you bumble? I mean, do you bumble?
No, I've never used any sort
Gas
of dating
station, like grocery store.
app. No, I'm old school, and what I do
How
is
old
I
are you?
make. Sorry,
How old are you?
we're in
Hollywood.
Hollywood. You think I'd answer that question?
I would hope so.
But what I was gonna say is this.
Guess not.
This is how I do it. And Tehran's made this observation about me.
Okay.
I make ladies fall in love with me.
Oh God.
I don't try and get them to sleep with me, and that's how I get laid. Facts, bars.
Bars, guys. That's our show for the
That's a wrap.
Soap bars. Bars of soap.
Appreciate it so much. Thank you all for listening. Of course, guys. Where can people find you?
My name is Bianca Sia, and on Instagram I am ifucks with Bianca. It's a
Is your
cuss
last name
word.
really Sia?
Sia? No, it's Sia Oshi.
Okay, Sia Vushi.
Sia Vushi,
Sia
but-
means black, by the way.
Sia
so
means
it's
black
like-
because I'm like, why not Bianca Black?
I
mean,
like
I'm
Bianca
friends with
pretty
Sia.
her.
badass.
That's why I was like, that's a poppin' name.
It's amazing. No, it's not my full government name. That's for me.
That's what's
Hey
up.
guys, I'm Nelya Linnik. You can find me on Instagram, Nelya Petrovna, or just type in Nelya Linnik and I'll be the first pop-up.
I love it. And of course, we're here each and every Tuesday. My name is Tehran, and I am Tehran, literally across the board at I am Tehran. And I'm
Tehran.
alongside.
GK Supreme, love, respect, and peace, and a sprinkle of savagery. Find me at Mr. George Corey Tehran. Please spell my last name.
KHOURI, and
Bars.
we are
Bars.
Imperfect
Perfect
Gentlemen.
Gentlemen.
Remember, nobody's
Underscore
perfect.
bars.
Bars.
But us. We'll see you
and
guys.
you and Bianca's future children are also.